Hello everyone, this is Warcast Ben, and today we're going to be doing a quick review cast. Here we have Master and Commander, which is the starter set for the Age of Sail game Black Seas from Warlord Games. Set between 1770 and 1830, this covers naval engagements of all scales, from Trafalgar to privateer actions. So let's look inside the box. Okay, first let's look at the models in the set. The set comes with 3 frigates and 6 brigs. Each of these is a plastic model with really nice recesses in them, so they're quite easy to paint. I have already seen a couple of people using Games Workshop's contrast paint to paint them, and they look very nice that way. The model, once painted, can be rigged, have the sails added, rat lines added, and have flags and colours added to them. They are all very nice, and I will now move on to the counters. The tokens, markers and tools that all come with this box set are really nice. We've got the measuring rulers with degree markings on them. We have this wonderful little tool that's basically used to determine how hard a turn ships can do, and is used to determine what certain arcs are on a ship. We have wake markers, which look really nice on the table, but can cause models to slide around a little bit. Wind gauge, and a dial for keeping track of the ship wounds. Now, this is probably the only larger complaint about the box set, and all in all, when we get to the end of the review, we'll understand that I find it very difficult to even complain about this. These little red bits that are used for counting how many points of how sort of health the ships still have left are a little bit flimsy, and some of them break quite easily. Apart from that, there is a whole collection of other tokens denoting various different bits and pieces, be they type of ammunition, if you're using those rules, be they ones like this which help mark out which ship's what ship is what. They're all very, very nice. Nice sort of thick cardboard. Now, my favourite thing about this is the box set actually comes with wool, because that is actually showing that ship has fired the guns on that side. There is also some black wool that is to represent a slightly different situation, and to top it off, if your ship is on fire, the box set actually comes with some red and orange wool just to represent that a ship is on fire. These are fantastic visual effects for the board, along with the wake marker that add a little bit of extra depth and a little bit extra to a starter box that you might not expect. For scenery, the box set contains quite a few sandbanks and fortifications and gun emplacements, some little bits of island, there's some harbours, and all of these are double-sided, as is the mat, which is a 4 foot by 3 foot mat. On the reverse side of the mat, along with the reverse sides, all the terrain are slightly more tropical. Maybe Caribbean, maybe elsewhere feeling. And finally, the last bit of the set, a whole collection of different coloured dice, different types of dice. There's a special D3 in there, some D10s, and some D6, all there to either represent different cannons, or so that you can roll for the different checks. So, the models and the content of the kit are fantastic. I'm going to give it 4.5 stars, only dropping it the 0.5 for the mat not being completely fantastic, and the little red counters that are used to denote how many ship points are left on a ship apart from that, it is a fantastic set, especially for the price. So, gameplay. Now, I've only managed to have a couple of games of this so far, but every single game has been really, really fun. The game has some really nice mechanics. So, one of the big ones is that activation is driven by direction of the wind. So, if you have a look at, I've got 2 frigates here and a brig here. Now, say the wind was coming from this table edge. It would knock the frigate over. So it was coming from this table edge. This brig would be the first one to activate. When it activates, depending on how fast it's travelling, it will get to move, turn, and then shoot. And then, potentially, if it's moving fast enough, it could then move, turn, potentially shoot again if there was something near it, and then it could move and turn and shoot again if it was travelling fast enough. Now, there are some issues with that particular style of activation, but they have been accounted for. Say you have ships in a line and the wind were coming from behind them, then this one would activate and crash into that one. But there are rules for running ships in a line. If they're all close enough together, then the wind would reach this one. It would be this one's turn to activate, but because it's a ship's in line, this one would activate first. It would complete its activation, and then this one would activate, and then if they still kept the correct distance apart, they would still be able to continue being ships in the line by the next activation. This is the only issue I really have with the rule set, is that I find that how close they require you to be for ships in line would preclude some of the crossings, the double crossing of the T that was done at Trafalgar, for example. The ships would be out of line if that were to happen, and I feel that could be modified, but apart from that, it's a really, really, really nice rule set. Hopefully, very soon I should be doing a playthrough of a game of Black Seas. I really, really am enjoying this. In fact, I'm currently waiting for a fleet box to turn up, which I pre-ordered at the same time as Master and Commander, and I'm very excited to play with a few of the slightly larger ships. Now, given the minor issue with what is considered to be one of the advanced rules, the running ships in line, I'm going to give this, again, 4.5 stars for the rule set, because it's really nice, it's really clean. I found it very intuitive. There were very few bits and pieces in the rule set that weren't obvious straight away. And yes, there's 13 scenarios in the book, all of which are really nice. That being said, the scenarios 1 and 2 probably don't suit having the advanced rules being thrown into them. Just a warning to anyone who might try and run scenario 2 with the advanced wind, because there is good chance that the merchantman will get off the board with no trouble. But yes, so there are 3 layers of rules to this: a basic one with a couple of additional rules and an advanced set of rules. I would suggest going to try and learn the advanced set of rules as quickly as possible, because they're not that much different, just a few extra little bits and pieces. The advanced wind is actually a lot more fun than the standard wind. You've got a 50% arc where you can be slowed down pretty heavily, which is pretty interesting to work out how to take advantage of it as best as you can. But yeah, definitely 4.5 stars for the rule set. It's really clean, really quick games, and I'm looking forward to playing quite a lot more of this. The lifespan and expansion potential for Black Seas is really good. They have already released frigates and brigs in a box set together, some third rates, which are slightly bigger than the frigates. There is a British and French fleet box set coming out pretty much as I speak, which is a first rate, 3 third rates, 3 frigates, 6 brigs, and a small squadron base of gunboats. On top of that, there is a US, French, and British named vessel coming out, the British of course being Victory. There will be the little gunboat bases coming out, and some more first rates and a Spanish and US fleet box. Speculations on future plans would be slightly different eras of ships, as ships of the line continue up quite late. I mean, you could probably even use some of the rule set right up to World War One, and the age of sail goes back a long way. I would love to see maybe a Spanish Armada era. Now, it's a little less straightforward to do ship battles prior to the ships of the line, but it could be very interesting to see if the rule set holds up during that era. There are quite a few eras that they could even run campaign books for during this during the period given, 1770 to 1830. We've got the War of 1812, maybe the Barbary War, and also there have been rumours that Warlord might even be thinking about doing some fantasy related models, maybe something like a Kraken or a Dragon, but any solid evidence in that regard has been yet to be seen. But I would definitely say that there's a 5-star chance for expansion and potential lifespan for Black Seas. There's definitely lots that we could see coming from Warlord in the future. Just a little addition, I have been looking at third-party accessories to Master and Commander or to Black Seas. Obviously, Deep Cut have their Waterworld mat, which is a 4 foot by 4 foot or 4 foot by 6 foot mat. I personally will be getting one when it finally comes back in stock. And I have been talking today with Schooner Labs on Instagram. I will link their web store. It's not on there yet, but they've come up with some ship card holders, and on the card holders they actually have ship point trackers, which would be better than the little red ones that come with the set. And in the future I will expect to see quite a few people selling 1 to 700 scale forts and crew for the ships, and potentially alternative models for the boats. So, having a quick look at the cost. Now, Master and Commander is £50. Now, take into consideration something like Necromunda, which has a similar level of models and content to it, is £75. Warlord Games own Blood Red Skies, which I would say has a little bit less than this, and no map to go with it, for example, only the clouds for scenery, is £40. And the Imperial Assault core box, which is again a fantastic box set, retails at £90. Not that I believe I've ever seen it retail at £90. I think I've always pretty much seen it quite heavily discounted. So comparing it to those other box sets, which again are very, very good game in a box style sets where you have everything you need to play, this is fantastic. There is so much in this. There's so much from a hobby perspective, for the building the boats, painting them, and rigging them, and putting the sails on, with 13 different missions and the ability to run all manner of other different scenarios just from the core rules. It's fantastic. That's actually something I haven't gone over, is the actual rulebook itself, which even contains a glossary of naval terms. Not that I'm going to ever get any of them right, apart from I learnt that the rear mast is called the mizzen mast, but that's only because it was on the instructions. So it is a phenomenal set. If you like naval warfare games, or if you like games where you have to think a little bit couple of steps ahead, not too many steps ahead, just a couple. This is a fantastic game. I really, really would suggest it to pretty much anyone who's into wargaming. And yeah, at £50, it's pretty much a steal. So, well, that was pretty much cost and conclusion all wrapped into one there. As I got a little bit excited talking about the game again. Now, the only pointers, the only things that have brought it down, like I've said, is there's a couple of little rule issues in things like running ships in line. There's the mat itself, but at £50, who cares? It's phenomenal for £50. So I'm definitely going to give it 5 stars for cost. And in total, the total rating I'm going to give is 5 stars, as it's 4.5 for 2 things and 5 for 2 others. So it's definitely the gold standard for me. I will be measuring a lot of games, a lot of starter sets and box sets off this, yeah. So I hope you've enjoyed this review cast. If you would like to see more things like this, I would suggest you like and subscribe to our YouTube channel here at Warcast Gaming. We also have some painting videos done by Warcast Bear, and a couple of battle reports that will be coming out shortly from myself, and again Warcast Bear will be working on a few of those. We also go live on a Sunday night at 9 PM, where we do a review of the week's wargaming news, which is predominantly Games Workshop focused, but anything else that piques our interest, like for example, I may have been talking about this quite a bit over the last few Sundays. On top of that, we are also on Twitch, which would be twitch.tv/Warcast Gaming. I would suggest you come and subscribe to us there, so that you'll be fully aware when we go live for either, again, our Sunday at 9 PM show, or we do quite a bit of things like painting. Just a few of us get round the table and we chat to people and we just paint models on camera. Those are always fun, and we always like to have a couple of people to talk to us then, tell us what they're painting and how they got into the hobby, that kind of thing. Apart from that, we are on Facebook and Instagram, both of which would be respectively Warcast Gaming, and I will be putting all the links into the end of this video in the description. But yes, I hope you've enjoyed this, and if you have, like, subscribe to as many of our social media platforms as you possibly can, and buy Master and Commander. It's fantastic. Thank you very much.